Welcome, everybody. We're delighted to have participants from different parts of the world. So, whether you're joining us live or watching later on, again, welcome. Thank you for being with us for another session of the Spiritist Talk Series, which is promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation. And we're here every Saturday at 11 a.m. US Eastern Time. It is my pleasure to host today's talk presented by Claudio Dantas, who will be speaking about the topic Face and Overcome. So let's give Claudio a warm welcome. Claudio, so nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
That
Thank
is,
you for having me here this morning.
oh, it's great, and it's an appropriate topic, um, ageless topic, right? It impacts us always. And also, just a reminder to everybody that Claudia will spare some time for us to answer any questions or any comments. So, for those who do not know Claudio, so Claudio was born in Claudio Dantas Jr. was born in Niterói, in Brazil, and holds a degree in civil engineer from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, as well as a master's degree in manufacturing engineering from the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul, both in Brazil. He is a Spiritist speaker and currently leads a study group on books of André Luiz at the Peace and Knowledge Spiritist Center in Orlando. And again, feel free to send your comments and questions in the chat. And again, and Claudio we'll have some time for Claudio to address those towards the end. So without any further ado, Claudio, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Glaucio, very much for introduction. Um, oh yes, thank you. I was asking about if that would come up. Okay, so our subject today is going to be the title of our presentation is Face and Overcome. And the idea is for us to chat a little bit about the issues we face in life. We all know that life is not easy. Being reincarnated in this trial and expiation world, we always have challenges in our lives. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about it. Just some references. I based the material here this morning on a few books, mainly the Spirits book, the Gospel, and a couple books from André Luiz, Harvest of Light, and Seara de Fé, which does not have a version in English yet. Okay. When we face problems in our lives, we can react in different ways, right? One way that I see a lot of people doing is like this character from a cartoon. Those who remember that from Hanna-Barbera, the Lippy the lion and Hardy. Hardy was always complaining and saying, "Oh me, oh my, oh dear." So always on a pessimist way in life. But we need to change our approach when we face problems. And that's why I'm trying to call the attention here. Let's start about seeing how much blessings we have. Look at what we have in our planet. We have so many beautiful things. You see nature, we have the rain, we have such beautiful sceneries. And even the rain, a lot of people complain about the rain, especially here in Florida, because people like to go to the beach, right? But I love the rain. The rain is a time for relaxation, for you to meditate, to relax at home, right? Also, this country here that we live in, these marvelous countries that received us, how many beauties are there in this country? We can see the Grand Canyon. We can see the Pacific Coast area. And I put there a little picture of Orlando and one of the many lakes we have in Orlando area and in Florida at all. Okay? So there are so many beauties. There are so many nice things. Why do we still keep feeling bad? Okay? Look at these blessings we have. In general, of course, we all I know people face health issues, but in general, we can exercise our health. We have food. I believe everybody that is watching and here today has some food at home. We don't have this table full of food as a usual breakfast in a hotel back in Brazil, but we have that. We have friends that get together and can chat. We have work. We have our jobs. So these are blessings in our lives. So instead of always looking at the bad side of things, let's also counterpart. Let's get together with the good parts, the blessings. Because Jesus told us, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. It's in Matthew's. So why are we always pessimists? We need to change this approach. We need to see that the things that happen to us, there is a reason for that, right? Let's analyze some points. Let's try to, when we see about ourselves, let's try to correct the deficiencies in us that can be repaired. We all know the deficiencies we have, right? Moral ones, I'm saying, right? And in order to know about them, we need to analyze ourselves. I'm quite sure each one of us knows our deficiencies. And with those, we have to accept ourselves. We are like that. And what can we do to overcome them, right? Tolerate the obstacles that we are faced with. And the best way to do that is with our moral improvement. Observe the offenders that portrays to us. Offenders are usually offending us because they are hitting at points that we feel bad about our ego. So they are attacking our ego, and that's why we feel bad. We should always believe that the offenders are just showing us our deficiencies. They are helping us. And we need to understand and take that as a way for us to improve. Another point we should take care of when we think about problems is stop being concerned about calamities, right? For the future. We've been seeing nowadays so many comments about the world is going to end. We have wars still ongoing in our world. And we are in a world of trials and expiations. But we know we are in a transition to a regenerative world. And within this time, we are going to face these situations. Everything that is bad is surfacing so that whatever is not to stay with our world is going to go away, right? So think about that Jesus is always in the control of our world. He's the one that gives us the power. And if we have the faith, we are going to feel better, even when we face all these bad things that are being announced to us, okay? Let's acknowledge the guilty thoughts we have acquired. And let's feel the repentance, but let's rebalance our lives. Let's move ahead. Let's not live with it, right? Let's not live as repentants for the whole period of our reincarnation. I like to say that take the extra step and leave it behind you. Move ahead. Take this as an experience, right? So let's get a little bit into analyzing the way we manage our instinct reactions. In the Spirit's book, there is a question that says, is it correct to say that the instinctive faculties decrease as the intellectual faculties increase? Let's see what the Spirit's answer to us. No, the instinct is always present, but humans neglect it. Instinct can lead us to the good. So instinct helps us. Because fear, for example, is important. We can't just not have no fear. We need to protect ourselves. Hunger, we need to being hungry, we need to eat to survive, right? We need to breathe. So there are some instincts that are important. But what about reason? It would be if it were not distorted by pride, selfishness, and faulty education. Instinct does not reason, whereas reason calls for choice and endows humans with free will. Free will. We always talk about that, right? A lot of people mention that. In beings with consciousness and the perception of external things, it allies itself with intelligence, with will and freedom. So, this is what the Spirit's book says to us. But let's talk about freedom of choice. Freedom of choice is not like I can do everything. We know what Paul said, the apostle told us that we are free to do anything, but not everything we should do, right? So, Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher from back there in the 18th century, he mentioned our free will, our moral autonomy, is our capacity to act according to duty, as opposed to being a slave to our desires or inclination. So the free will is the sense that is associated with the moral responsibility. It does not mean that you are free without consequences. So the true freedom is when we act against our impulsiveness, thus using our reason, using our free will. Okay? So this is the true freedom. And we are free to do that. But it's our decision. We have to reason it. We have to balance our instinct with our reason, right? So we have the ability, all of us as humans, with the knowledge we have, with our minds, to do that. And it can be practiced in an everyday basis. I always like to talk about the example of driving. Traffic is not easy to anyone, right? So when someone does something that we don't feel comfortable in traffic, what is our instinct to reaction? Usually comes to say, oh, I'm gonna say something to the person, I'm gonna make a sign. What about stopping, thinking about it, reason? That person that did something, the person may be in a hurry because he or she is late for work, and it's the last chance they are gonna have getting late at work, or the person is not feeling well, or he's taking someone to the hospital. So we don't know. There is a reason. And the reason is not for us. So the person is not attacking you. It's not personal. And that's the kind of reason that we need to think on everything. At work, when we are in a meeting and someone is against our suggestion or our project, it's not against us. People are trying to make the best decision for a company, right? Same thing in our family. So when we are together, let's say the couple and the children discussing, okay, let's talk about our next vacation. Where are we going? So everybody needs to come to an agreement, right? Just a few examples. So I'm not saying that we need, when I say that we should not pay attention to what is being announced, we are not ignoring what happens in the world, but we need to recognize that if we shape our tranquility, if we have the security of our foundations in our understanding and our discernment, we will bear everything in the best way. And that's what we see when we read the stories of the first Christians, right? So they have their faith to go through all the contingents. God does not send us problems that we do not need. This is another fact that we should think about. Because when we have problems and we have difficulties, obstacles, they all came to us for a reason, because of a previous life. But bear in mind that there is always some things that are always coming to us for knowledge, for learning. We need to take these opportunities as apprentices. So we need to learn from that. Everything that happened. A few years ago, I had a car accident. And I found out that I could have avoided it. I'm not suffering because, oh, I should have done this. No, it's not this. But I learned from it. I can be more cautious. This is everything that happens in our life with our health, right? I'm not talking here about the situations, of course, and I want to acknowledge that some of us come with more healthy issues, and that's part of our incarnation. But it's also for us to learn about something. So it's for us to get better spirits, right? Remember that Jesus also said, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke on you and learn from me, because I'm gentle and humble in heart." Okay? For my yoke is easy to bear, and my load is not hard to carry. Remember that. Let's always remember that. Okay? But does everybody want to change? Do we all want to get better? No. How are you? This is just a little joke for us. Look at the line of medicines and surgeries, and the other one for changes in lifestyle. We always tend to be, okay, let's just remedy this and continue to be like that, right? So changing is not easy. And when we need to change our attitude, start using our reason for things, it's not easy. I put some examples in the pictures here. For example, when we want to lose weight or get healthier, there is an exercise. We need to go for it. When we want to work with our expenses, deal with money, some people have difficulty in dealing with money, but can get more discipline. All of us can. We can learn about that. What about drinking? We know alcohol and other vices with drugs and all, they are not really nice for us. Is it easy to stop? No, it's not. But we need to rethink, what are the damages it's bringing to us? Reading is also another alternative for us. I have a friend here in Orlando that he always says, if we read one page per day in a book, at the end of the year, we'll have read 365 pages. This is maybe 2 books, depending on the sizes of them, right? And what about being nice, smiling, saying good morning? We could start saying good morning to us when we wake up and go to the bathroom and look in the mirror. Let's say good morning with a smile to ourselves. But get at work, for example, instead of just doing that general morning, no, we can say good morning. We don't need to be effusive, like, oh, hello, good morning. No, you can be just normal smiling. Good morning to everyone, right? And that's part of it. It's getting better. It's changing. At my work, I do quite a few trainings, especially on changes in procedures and processes. And it is estimated that an action or habit needs around 21 times repetition in average. Some people may go faster, others may take more time. So we need about 21 times repetitions to learn it and for it to become spontaneous, okay? So that's why we need to repeat. Same thing on our habits on every days, all right? So here is the tip for you guys. Let's keep trying it. One day we'll get to it, okay? Emmanuel told us that whatever pain you have suffered, remember that everything will be better tomorrow if you don't accumulate gall or vinegar in your heart. So when bad things happen, let's learn and let's change, right? Changing is the best. It's changing the attitude of how we react to everything that happens to us. Value, therefore, today's trouble, learning from it to grow for good, which shapes us towards the union with God. Every time we learn, we change a little bit, and we learn from the difficulties we face, we are making the world better. We are making our planet better. It's like the ocean that is made of various drops of water. So each time each one of us do something good, the atmosphere, the vibration of the world gets better. It's a combination of it, and it's little bits of it. And it may not seem that we are doing a big thing on the planet, but we are. It makes really a huge difference for everyone, okay? Acceptance and patience. So when we face a problem, what do? We immediately use our instinct and answer something, or just go ahead and I don't take these comments to myself. I'm always reacting and giving back. I don't know if you guys know the story from Chico Xavier. He used to say that when something bad happened, he was in a situation, he would take water, a sip of water, and keep the water in his mouth for a few seconds so that he could think about it and calm down the instinct and come with a reason for answering. So let's think about it. It's the best way for us to get over the situations, because they are not easy, for sure. Any time in our life is an opportunity to rescue and readjust, okay? So we cannot redo something that happened. We cannot change and do it again, but we can repeat. We can, on the next day, on the next opportunity, do it differently. And in the Spirit's book, it said that with just a little effort, we can change. Just a little effort. But are we open for that? Remember the cartoon I showed? Most of us are not open to change. And that's something we need to rethink, right? So how to advance in our change, in our rebirth? Let's start with loving our neighbor as ourselves. As long as we love ourselves, we can love our neighbors, and it's the best way to start, right? Let's start helping. Let's start being nice to the people, okay? When someone does something bad to us, someone may be not in a good day. Let's understand. And that's what our instinct blocks us from trying to react in that way, because we tend to just give a bad answer to a person. But let's rethink it. When we receive some news about some extra expense that is, oh, I wasn't expecting that. That's going to be... Initially, the first idea, instinctive idea, is for us to think, oh, this is going to be a big problem. I don't know what to do. No, stop. Leave it aside. Let's think about it. The solution is going to come to us. We are smart. We can think. We can come to solutions, right? The love that we are adding to the duty that we have to accomplish is always a seeding of happiness for ourselves. The good we do always comes back to us. So by loving our neighbors and helping other people, being nice to people, that means that it will come back to us. I always like to say, when people do voluntary work, people ask me, well, I have to be true about that. The first time I ever went to do voluntary work, I was like, I'm not really, maybe it's not going to be nice. I have other things to do, but I went. It was nice. I enjoyed it. Then the next time, I really felt good. So you get used to it, because you feel that you're not only doing good to other people, but you're doing good to you, because it comes back to you. So it's also a way for us to get better, okay? Wherever, however, in areas of difficulty, give yourself serenity and a spirit of service. Always think like that. Stop and think about it, because with doing that, you're going to achieve peace and release. So think about it. Always calm. Put your instinct aside most of the times, and you will be able to rethink it all, okay? The harm one does to us must be a veil for giving. I consider this one of the most difficult attitudes in our lives as humans, for me at least. And it's a continuous learning of forgiving. It's not easy, but real forgiving, right? By knowing ourselves, we can change, as I said in the beginning. Loving more, forgiving more, helping more, understanding more. So these steps are the steps that we can do to improve ourselves. Loving, forgiving, helping, understanding. Right? You can save these words. They are going to help us to change and to feel better, be a better person, right? Let's make the most of the time we have in this incarnation, right? Because time passes. And what have we done? Are we getting better? Are we investing in getting better? Or are we just relaxing, enjoying life? What is our behavior in life? We have work, we have families, we have our own life. Of course, we need material things in our lives because we need to survive. We need food, we need a house. But if we get better into helping people, into helping other people, sharing some, and sometimes I always also like to say this, it's not only about giving material things to other person, but sometimes a person just want to listen to us, right? Just give your time to listen. It's giving your time, right? Oops, not working here. Okay. And it's not time that heals. It is what I do with my time. A lot of people like to say, just forgive about it. Time is going to heal it. It's not really heal it. It's what I do with my time. If I just pass the time regretting something, feeling bad about someone that did some bad thing to me, it's not going to heal. It's going to be there. So it's what I do with my time. So if instead of thinking about that or regretting it and keep that same feeling in your mind, in your soul, then it's not going to heal. For sure not. Yeah. A lot of people like to say when someone does something bad to us, you say, no, I forgave the person, but I don't want to see that person again. So did you really forgive the person or not? Huh? So let's rethink it. It's getting over the situation. Really thinking that it is doing good to the world and to people in general, helping people, understanding why a person did that bad attitude to you, right? Wherever you put your attention, it grows. So if you put it in anxiety, insecurity, guilt, anger, you're going to get that. But if you put in love, it's different. So with that slide, I'm going to tell you guys a short story here. I always like to say. So there were a father and a son that worked in their land. They had a small property. And they used to plant for their own subsistence, right? The boy was 7-year old, and he was helping the father. The father would open holes on the floor, and the kid would be dropping the seeds in the holes, right? At a certain point, the boy asked, Dad, what am I going to be when I grow up? And the father, in his wisdom of simplicity, said, look, my son, at these seeds I have here. Are they all the same? And the boy said, of course not. You have bean seeds, corn seeds, and pea seeds. And then he put some of the seeds in the boy's hand and asked, what happens when I plant corn seed in the ground? Well, Dad, a corn stalk will grow. And when I plant a bean seed, a bean plant will grow. Interesting. So lifting the child in his arms, he said, for every plant, there is a seed, a specific seed. And in our lives, so for every plant, there is a specific kind of seed. If you want corn, you have to plant corn seeds. If you want to have beans, you have to plant bean seeds, and so on. Okay? So the kid acknowledged that, and the father continued. Our lives consist of an eternal planting and eternal harvesting. Today, we plant the seeds we will harvest in the future. Likewise, we harvest what we planted in the past. You can be anything you wish, my son, provided that you plant the right seeds in the field of life. Very nice. The boy understood with his childish, still growing learning. And then the boy asked again, and what are the right seeds, Dad? Ooh. So the father again, taking his wisdom, said, the seed of charity, for we are all brothers and sisters, and therefore responsible for one another. Very nice. The seed of forgiveness, which reminds us that we are all learners, at times getting it right, at times making mistakes, and thus, in equal measure, in need of both forgiving and being forgiven. I think this one is maybe the hardest seed to plant, and we are still learning on that. The seed of hope, which gives us the certainty that our efforts are never in vain. The seed of faith, which brings the Creator Father into our hearts, just as we all reside within his heart. And finally, my son, the most important of all, the seed of love, which provides us with light on our journey, even when, as often happens, the night grows dark and the path becomes difficult. So, finishing their conversation and their work on that day, they walked back to the house. And although the boy was still young, the father thought, nevertheless, with all the simplicity of that nature, the father felt happy, for he knew that in the twilight of that blessed day, a seed had been planted. So he planted the seed with his son, a seed capable of bearing good fruit for a lifetime. So I like this story to match this slide, because that's what we should focus. We should continue to grow the good seeds. And the seed of love is probably the most important, because love encompasses all of the other points that we talked about. Faith, forgiveness, everything is encompassed in that. So very nice, very, very nice to focus on that seed. And again, my friends, we all feel and face the situations that we planted in the past. Although we don't remember, because we don't remember from our previous incarnation. But we know that something we planted, and we are having a chance to overcome that, changing what we plant now for the future, so that our future harvest is going to be better than the previous one, right? So that's a good way for us to start growing the good, growing for love, and and working to become better people, facing the situations not as problems, but opportunities for growing, opportunities to get better. Okay? I like to bring also this message from Joanna de Angelis in the Regenerative World book. This book is also not, I haven't seen a version of it in English yet, but it says, keep faith that true contingents of noble spirits are laboring to carry out the higher program. Connect with them and become an anchor to prevent any kind of shipwreck. So let's connect for the good, okay? Let's connect in good vibrations. Let's think about good. Let's plant, let's grow the good seeds. Let's not focus on those bad seeds that I showed before, right? Let's not focus on anger, guilt, insecurity, anxiety, but let's focus on love, on faith, on forgiveness, right? Because we know that noble spirits are helping us and are paying attention to our planet. It's just our decisions, as the Spiritist already said. If we have a little bit of an effort, we can change and we can get better. So it's up to us to get better, to work, and to start changing. May the peace of God be with you all. That's the message I brought for you guys today. Thank you.
Claudio, that was very interesting. I really like the story about the father and the seeds that the selection of seeds. What is it that you want to be, right? What is it that you want to sprout? So it's up to you. So I really like it. We have some questions, some comments, and so. But before we get there, so and everybody stay tuned. So we'll get there soon. But first of all, there are some announcements here that I would like to share with everyone. So the first one here is we'd like to invite everybody to follow us on our social media channels to stay updated on upcoming events and activities. So that's a way to stay abreast of what's happening with the Spiritist movement in the U.S. Along those same lines, don't forget to visit the U.S. Spirit Federation bookstore at spiritistbooks.us, where you will find a wide selection of Spiritist books, including several exciting new releases. This is very important because you never know. There's some great Spiritist literature from all over the world, and through the efforts of the Spiritist U.S. Federation, a lot of those have been translated, and several of them are released often. Also, if you work with Spiritist youth or are interested in educational resources for Spiritist youth, so be sure to explore the Family, Youth, and Children Spiritist Education FIXI website at spiritismkids.us, where you will discover excellent materials and ideas for your educators. And of course, take a moment to check out the Be My Hope app, which offers inspiring daily message to uplift your spirit. So I mean, going back to all the stresses and worries that life brings to us. So you can have an app at the palm of your hand that brings you uplifting messages. So the Be My Hope app is available in both the App Store and Google Play. All right, so let's turn our attention, Claudio, to the comments and questions. People are eager to get a deeper dive into the conversation that we had today. First of all, it's from Yasko Aracava. So, hi, Claudio. Helpful material. What would be the alternatives to overcome when to face a problem is difficult at the moment?
Well, first of all, we always need to have faith that we are not abandoned in this world. So we need to search for the good opportunities of changing and finding solutions. Sometimes, and most of the times, the solution is not that one that we want. I always like to say, when we have economic issues, what do we want? Oh, the first thing we want, let me go and get on the lottery and make some good money, and so that I can overcome the problem. No, this is not the way. Sometimes when you have, for example, an economic situation, economic difficulties, what are the possible solutions? Let's analyze all our expenses. What can we reduce here? Do I need to change my job? Let's look for alternatives. What can I eliminate temporarily? Sometimes we need to eliminate. If we put on a list what we have, so these are the kind of alternatives. When we have a physical issue, and I know this is probably the most difficult one we may face when we have health issues. And sometimes we know even doctors come to us and say that there is no cure for something. But can we live with what we have and make the best of it? We can bring up various examples of people with difficulties that we had throughout our history, and even in the past century back in Brazil or in other countries as well. We've seen videos about that. So let's take the best of it. Let's say I'm someone that that I can't move. I have to live in a bed. I faced that with my father years ago, and he got to a point that he couldn't move from a bed, and I was always talking to him. Let's read, learn, think, try to give the best energy to the world. Everybody's here to help you. Everybody's here to help you feel better, help you feel the best person, and get alternatives in our life. Yesterday, there was a little video that I watched about a boy. I don't remember which country it was. It was maybe even in Brazil too, but I don't recall. The boy came in a wheelchair to this TV show, and the presenter asked him, "What are you here to do?" And then the boy simply he kind of slipped out of the chair, and he stood vertical with his hands on the floor, and he started moving like that. Okay, so I said, man, how could the boy get to do that? He did it by himself. He couldn't walk with his legs, but he could move with his hands and his arms. So that was really amazing. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy at all, but it's planting and growing the right seeds. I don't know if I helped.
That was a very interesting explanation. Again, very nice example that you mentioned about boy. Next one from the Spiritism USA. How can we distinguish between a trial that we must endure to strengthen our soul and an expiation resulting from past life mistakes? Does understanding this difference change the way we emotionally face the challenge?
Well, first of all, I'll answer your last part. I don't think it should change the way we face the challenge. Okay? All challenges are challenges, and we should face them the best way always. But a difference between what is a trial and what is something from an expiation, it's really hard to know, because it can be or cannot be. We can't really define it all the times. But whatever it is, face it the best way. Face it with love. Face with taking the best from what you can learn from that, right? It can change you into making you a better person, right? And the only thing I can say about how to identify those is usually something that is like an expiation is something that you were born with, and whether physically or that a financial situation you are living. And usually trials are just, they come up and go during your life. This is the only generic separation, but it's not like black and white. It can't be black and white. I hope I helped.
Yeah, that was a good explanation. And I like the point you made. I mean, what difference does it make, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Next question from the U.S. Spiritist Federation. Is it safe to say that whenever we are affected by the same type of recurring problem, there is a lesson that we have not learned yet?
Definitely. And I'll go again back to the example of the traffic. I have a problem with traffic. I don't like driving. But I came to live in a country that depends on the car. If I don't live in a couple of specific cities that have more public transportation, such as New York or Washington, D.C., so you have to face a car. You have to drive. And I always get impatient in traffic. And I'm much better, I'll tell you. And I have improved a lot. So I remember 2 years ago, I said to myself, I think I'm good. I woke up, I felt good. I'm going to drive. Nothing is going to impact me. So first thing that happened when I left my house, I turned the corner and there was a school bus parked with all those teenagers coming up on the bus. So takes forever. And I was there. I had to hold my patience and say, no, it's the kids. Let them do it. Be patient. This is part of life. Then the next corner, I want to turn right. The person in front of me was not taking the chance to turn right, even if it was red. We had a red light. So why not? Some people behind me started honking the horn, but I was patient, trying to be patient. So it's an everyday thing. It was still affecting me, but I took the habit of trying to rethink it, right? Maybe the person is learning, was afraid of driving, and I don't know. We just have to put ourselves in our neighbor's position and try to understand the best we can.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Sounds trivial, but there's so much we can learn doing like small things like driving, dealing with our co-workers. Those are like small experiences, but there's so much to learn in those daily occurrences.
I also like to say, just before we go to the next one, I also like to say about emails. Emails, they help us. Because emails, you have time to think about the answer. But when emails started, I remember it would be like, well, why did this guy say that at work, for example, right? And I started writing an email, and then I stopped. Oh, come on, I don't need to answer now. Let me think more. Let me really take the whole view of the problem. Let me understand what's going on, and then I'll put down a good answer with reason and not with instinct, right?
That's awesome. So ready for the next one?
Yes, sorry.
So Daniel Santos brought this one for us. Since the Spiritism teaches that the mind commands the body, how can a person suffering from a severe chemical imbalance or spiritual obsession find the inner strength to shift their thoughts and begin healing?
Well, in this situation, which is not an easy situation at all, first, you need to have the will and to get better. And you need to look for help. Sometimes we can't do it by ourselves. Definitely not. Okay? So if there is an obsession, it is good to go to a Spiritist center, talk to the team there. I believe every Spirit center has a fraternal meeting that will talk to people and help them see the situation, and do some work to help with the obsession, for sure, okay? If it's a chemical imbalance, you need, I know people sometimes when they are in that situation, let's say a depression, they don't feel like going to a doctor. They don't want to do anything. But that will, the person needs to start thinking about themselves. As I said before, you need to love yourself to start helping others. So to help yourself, you need to look for help and go to a doctor and ask for help. There are medicines to help that too, if it's just a physical, a chemical imbalance. But again, if there is obsession added to it, maybe you have to use both in parallel, both the medicine and also go to a spirit center and see what the team there can help you with. But it's case by case. We need to analyze the situations.
Thank you, sir. Next one. So from a Spiritist Federation, what do you say about those embittered individuals who feel good about seeing or making others suffer?
Oh. What I can say about those friends, those individuals, is I'm sorry for them. They need to find the moment that they have to change. We still have people that feel happy for making bad to others, to make people suffer. And with our world changing in this transition to a world, to become a regenerative world, these spirits, these individuals will probably not continue in our planet. They are having their last chance, and they are showing that, but they still have the chance to change. Remember the parable of the worker of the last hour. So there is still chance to change. So someone who is still doing bad and feel good about doing bad, take pleasure on that, can still change. And I also recommend a very nice book about that. That is Liberation from André Luiz and from Chico Xavier, and where you have a very bad spirit that at the end he changes. So there is opportunity to change. It depends on us. The individual will need to get to the moment that there is a click, that he will start seeing how to change. And it's on him. We can try and help, bring him to a situation, talk, and try to give some counseling about it. But at the end of the day, it's only each one of us that can change.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. We left the easiest question for you. For the last question is the easiest one.
Yeah.
What can we do to change the world for the better? I mean, that's it's one sentence. I mean, easy question.
Yeah. But as I said during the presentation and the talking, it looks like whatever we do doesn't make any change. But the same way as the comparison I made with the ocean that is made of drops of water, millions, billions, zillions, anything that we do for good will add up to make our world better. So we may think, nah, I'm not going to do that. That will make no difference. Yes, it will. It will make difference. It will change the vibration. It will change the energy of our world. And it's part of us to do all this change. Every little bit that we do is going to help the change. And think about it. It may think as a small thing, every little bit that we do when we are doing voluntary work, or even when we smile with a good morning to anyone, we are making the world better. And that's how we can change the world.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. This has been an inspiring lecture, very timely, I would say, with so many concerns that everybody has. So, yeah, and thanks for everybody who joined us today, and as well for those who follow us weekly on the Spiritism Talk series. So next week, since we have the Memorial Day weekend in observance for the holiday, so we will take a break. However, we look forward to have everybody with us again the following Saturday, May 30th, another inspiring lecture, which will be titled The Parables in Our Lives. What roles are we playing? Very insightful, which will be presented by Marina Alves. So, Claudio, again, thank you very much, sir. Before we close, do you have any final remarks to share with us, or would you be so kind to say the final prayer for us?
I would just like to reinforce it's us doing good is not that difficult. The Spiritists answer that to us. Try to change. Think a little bit before taking an action. It's not easy, especially because when we are very impulsive, and that means that we are still using a lot of our instincts. We need the instincts. We need the instincts to survive in this planet. But we can balance them with the reason. And when we need food, it's not like we are going to grab the food or hunt whatever we need. No, it's not like that. We need food. So with reason, we are going to work and we are going to be able to buy some food. Same thing about protection. So we have fear of the rain. We have fear of the weather. We are not just by that run away or hide somewhere. No, we are going to work. We are going to make sure that we have a house, a small apartment, somewhere we can live. And that's our home that we can protect. So that's the message I like to say. Try to put your instincts. You'll have those. Use your reason. Think before answering. Think before acting.
That is awesome. Thank you, everybody. So such an inspiring lecture. I can close with a final prayer. If you can close, or I can close with a final prayer. It's your choice. Up to you.
No, I can say a few
Awesome.
words.
Thank you so much.
So um, I'd like to thank this opportunity I had to present this message to everyone. And I hope that I have been able to inspire with this message. And I also would like to thank the blessing of the inspiration I had today, too, because when we come to talk, we prepare a lot of materials, but when it starts, it's the inspiration that comes to us. And I know that good spirits are always inspiring us. And thank you very much. And thank you all for this service that is having these lives on every Saturday. I'm sure it's hitting up some hearts in the country that we live and everywhere in the world. And finally, I'd like to thank the blessing of the technology that allows us to have this kind of service within the world, using the technology for the good, because technology is good. It's not bad as some people say, but it's good. And as long as we use it with in the right way. Thank you very much. And we all have a blessed day and a blessed weekend. Thank you.